owner's contact, confirm property ownership status, and Canvasser doesn't do the wave check immediately. Wave check is the first approach when the Canvasser actually asking whether whether the contact is the property owners or not. If it's the contact would be leads. And furthermore, the conversion of the first meeting decreased from last week, which was only 4 units. First meeting is only 20% of the total leads, and the hypothesis would be there are still some contacts who turn out to be property management or agents. This is counted as error. Some properties are not confirmed to be available, and property owners who are not very responsive or cooperative. And actually, from the aperture itself, from the evaluation of Alvina, Dila, myself, actually, some of us doesn't do the right approach to the property owners. So maybe that's why we haven't generated much of the first meeting. But actually, we have scheduled like 3 first meeting for this week from last week leads. So I hope that's going to fulfill that early next time. I think that's it, Kak Randy. Back to you, Kak Ros.
Okay, thank you, Kayla, for your updates. Anyone to give our Kayla updates first? Oh yeah, Andy.
Okay, thank you, Ross. Yeah, Kayla. So I saw here there is MKL. After that's pitching, right? So on the pitching, you do the online meeting or offline meeting, right?
Yes, Kak.
Okay, so when you do the pitching, is it because I saw the verbally agree there is zero, right? So when you do
Yeah.
the pitching, is it like did you like asking like hey, what do you think about this? Did you maybe interesting to join with us, or
Mm,
you just like cut the pitching and then you waiting until like okay, let me know if you interesting like that. So did you
okay.
reduce the time for get the agree, or like you waiting for the agreement?
Okay, I'll offer this to Canadian since it's responsible for the pitching.
Thank you, Candy, for the yes, we always have a closing statement for for them. We ask what they think actually about our presentation, and do they actually will consider to have a partnership with us. We always ask that. But if we have zero data for verbally agree, that means they don't give us statement as I'm interested. Please send me the contract. They only let me think for some period of time, like 3 days or something, or a week. That's why we don't count it as verbally agree. Verbally agree means if they say yes, and I will learn more about the contract.
I see. So for the first meeting, did you explain
Mhm.
also about the what's called something our in our system, or just like introduction? Again?
First meeting is mostly about we discover the needs basically. So later in the pitching we can prepare the right pitch deck that can solve their problem that we already discovered on the first meeting. But actually in first meeting as well we already give some introduction if our term and conditions, the crucial one, like they need to take down their OTA. We exclusively manage the marketing. We already give that introduction on the first meeting. But on pitching, we lebih masuk lagi ke what exactly the problem that they're facing nanti di pitchingnya to assure them why should you choose us gitu.
Okay, so in pitching, my I know how long usually average time that from the pitching to the verbally agree the owner. How long you waiting the what's called the partner give us the commitment like that. Let's say how long actually
For verbally agree or MOU sign?
from pitching to verbally agree.
For verbally agree, that's usually verbally agree to direct after pitching, but if they don't say yes after pitching, that means nanti keputusannya MOU atau enggak langsung gitu. No verbally agree.
Have you been facing the case like this before? Like not they not giving the decision after the pitching, and then how long you wait?
Yeah. 3 until 4.
3 until 4 days. Okay.
Sometimes we give the deadline and also we ask them kapan maunya di follow up. Jadi based on that juga gitu.
Oh, I see.
Either we give form or we ask them kapan mau di follow up.
Okay.
For more comfort for them.
Okay, so for the AS Villa and Rumah Pajang, is it from last week ya, pitchingnya?
Last week.
Last week.
Last week.
Okay, so we expect that maybe this week they give the decision, right? Is it either they continue or not? Okay.
Yes.
I see. Okay then. So yeah, maybe from others, is there any question about the process or the updates? Okay, back to Ross.
Okay, thank you, Kak and Nadine, for the explanation. For the conclusion about this, please Nadine and BD team to follow up AS Villa Rumah Pajangan this week ya. And there is comment from VD. So biggest friction converting. Okay. Yeah. Is there any question for online canvassing? Okay, we continue to offline canvassing ya.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Chair. Here's the update. Can you go to the stats? So as we see, the funnel that actually has the increased number is tax, because we just done the offline canvassing last Saturday. I got 6 new contacts, but it hasn't proceeded yet. And then the leads, that's why the leads and the first meeting numbers still the same. But the MOU signs increased. Right now we have 2 MOU signed from offline canvassing, which is the conversions is 66% beyond the SLA. And please go down to the updates. I have written the updates. That's the first one. The increased number of contact in offline canvassing campaign was collected from last Saturday. The contacts haven't been proceeded yet. So the regular offline canvassing activity will always be done on Saturday, say the end of the week. And this is considering the working time that I need to have in a week, and then offline canvassing bandwidth will be on Saturday, and also the contact processing will be beginning of the started on Monday. And for now, the priority of this month offline canvassing is Uluwatu, because this area is right now it's really alive right now in Uluwatu and Bingin area. They're very crowded right now, and no strict PPKM anymore in this area. And it's more accessible for now for the resources that we have. It's me and Wayana to go there. It's more accessible. And yes, that's pretty much it. The update about the offline canvassing right now. The things that I really want to highlight is on Uluwatu area, because they're now live, but I know that we don't have really many villa on Uluwatu. That's why I put this on priority to acquire villas in Uluwatu, because they have a very crowded market now, but we don't really have a good conversion in booking in Uluwatu. That's why we put this Uluwatu as a highest priority in offline canvassing. Back to you, Mrs. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Nadine, for your explanation. Do you think for this week is decrease or increase from 2 weeks ago?
Is it the whole performance, yeah, Ross?
Yeah. Last week
The
and
whole
2 weeks ago.
Yes, as we see that the MOU sign is increased, and there is no significant improvement in the middle funnel because take these activities offline canvassing in twice in a month, right? So this is the second iterations basically, and from the first iteration we already succeed convert to MOU sign, and the second iterations we can see the result later on the next week.
Okay, thank you, Nadine. Anyone to give Nadine question about the maybe from Mr. Jing?
Sure. Nadine, I didn't quite understand your logic here. So you're saying that in Uluwatu there's villas, but they're not converting. So we're going to go and emphasize on canvassing for more villas in Uluwatu. Is that correct, or am I understanding that differently?
Yes, we don't really in BV we don't have much villa as our partner, right?
Yeah.
We only have guest houses.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we should canvas more villas in Uluwatu.
I see. Okay, got it. And
Because
that
the one that
conversion.
cannot, because the booking conversions in HAR in Uluwatu are mostly asking about villa, and we cannot convert it.
I understand. Okay. This Wyan, this sounds kind of like the situation we had when we had Asri Jewel and people were asking for something closer to the beach. And that was what kind of like led to the Renaissance and us establishing Bingen. So I think we need to pay attention to this. Nadine, do you think if we add more resources to this particular effort, will you be able to get more results?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, then we need to discuss this possibility. So you would need probably people in Bali to help you expand the area of coverage, right, where we canvas. Is that correct?
Yes, because we can see the online canvassing and also the offline canvassing progressing on offline canvassing to produce the MOU.
Okay. And that is what we have always seen too. Am I correct, Wayana? In pretty much our entire history at Boogie Vista, the offline canvassing has always been a very successful source of getting leads quickly.
Yeah, because when offline canvassing, I think we have a contact and we have more context about it, and also have more visibility what to do.
And the first meeting can be happen on the field as well, so we can just go to pitching directly. Yeah.
And a lot of owners probably don't use social media or email or any of this technology in order to find what they need for either. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here's the dilemma then. Right now, HR has been trying to hire people in Bali, but that hasn't been forthcoming to get this. This has been one of the hardest roles to actually hire. My suggestion is this. I think there's a few people in Bali, Tendi, Rafik, Lalita. Maybe what you guys can organize is what we did before. Babe, Wyan, do you remember when we used to do canvassing expeditions? We would go all out one day and we just canvass an entire neighborhood. Can that be applied as like once a month or once every 2 weeks? We do that and then we just draw in like 40 leads or 50 leads in one day.
Yeah.
I
think we can activate that as well. So
okay.
We need to organize which area and then we get covered. So, but maybe to Rafik and Tendi. So we need to have like a sub discussion, like the strategy, how you're gonna do that, and you willing to do this or no, so that we, if more people, we need a strategy and a system to organize.
Okay, this is good because this is essentially one of the reasons why we integrated community with business development too, so that it is essentially one journey, right? Everybody is working essentially to form part. So there's also a hidden resource right now too, I believe, and I guess I'm talking to Nadine now, which are some of the interns are actually in Bali. So if this is going to be like, let's say once every 2 weeks or whatever, it can become like a gotong royong or something, right? We get everybody together, we coordinate which areas they're going to canvass, Generally, when people canvas alone, I notice that the morale and the motivation is not as good as if we all kind of arrive and do it in force. Everybody sort of, is in the spirit of it, like a beach cleanup, right, so to speak. So this might be a direction that we can go into. Nadine, would I be able to delegate that potential and possibility to you to follow up on? And we'll follow up maybe on like next community to see if we can actually activate a regular event.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, that's it. That's my comments. Back to the chair.
Okay, thank you, sir and Nadine. Yeah, we can discuss about this again, for the plan to do gotong royong convention at Bali. Okay, we can continue for the next campaign. Yeah. Kak Tendi? Udah ya, Kak? Okay, from the property quality control, please Kak Tendi give the updates.
Okay, thank you, Ross. So last week performance. So yeah, last week we have been focused more on the Airtable. We've gone some tasks like make a guidebook. So, but last week I had coordinate with the HR as well to gather the feedback from our long-term guests for the inspection from the guests as well, and then got the feedback from the Rumah Pertama and then also the Kutu. And then for the Rumah Pertama, there are some feedback about the gap door, and then also some that need to improve. And then I had also informed the owner also for that. And then also for the action plan, yeah, since yesterday I discussed with Ross. Maybe Ross want to visit the Nusa Penida for the inspection, also to engage with the partner there. So the action plan is discussed about that plan. Back to Ross.
Okay, thank you Kak Tendi. Anyone who want to give a question, or maybe aku dulu, for me first? Okay, from me I want to ask you Kak Tendi. So there is issue from Komala Guest House Sagan. The online inspection result is the score is 84 per 100. But I see in the online inspection Google Form about the cleanliness apa namanya penilaian itu for the room and the bedroom and bedroom and the tapi kalau yang di lingkungan and like kitchen and others is lebih ke amenities. And what Mas Gani found when he go to do photo shoot, itu kos-kosan. Jadi for the lantai pertama itu di bawah kos-kosan dan itu berantakan dan ada jemuran di mana-mana. Sementara waktu aku online inspection, kamarnya itu sesuai dengan standar penginapan yang miliki di properti kita. Dan from marketing, Mas Gani not agree to sell this Komala Guest House Sagan. Do you think we fix and update the PSS from? Maybe you got any.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think for that, actually, that's on the first process, right? On the MKL, not because when the partner already when the partner is already signed the contract, that's actually we in committee we just welcoming them. But if for the photo shoot and then Gani not agree after to sell the property after the partner signed the contract, I think that's need in the set the expectation in the beginning, like hey, your this is our MKL and then like this. So I think like for example like what's called the first on the selection, that's actually the the process to selective the property like that. Did you understand what I mean, Ross?
Yes, Kak Tendi, I understand. Maybe from Nadine, your opinion.
Okay, thank you for bringing this issue, Ross. Basically, okay. So we know that this Komala Guest House has two property, yeah, the one that located in Sagan and the one in Malioboro. And I believe the one that having this issue is the one in Sagan, yeah.
Okay.
And yes, basically, at the very first time we onboard this property is. We are actually aware that they have kos-kosan too in this Sagan area, right? But then the owner has one room that memang untuk di penginapan gitu, for holiday rent, not kos-kosan, and it's already been running way before kita approach and it's running well gitu. She has gas coming gitu dari Airbnb and it's okay gitu. And that's why because they have the success rate for that gitu, because the kamarnya juga estetik secara desain segala macam, we see that it's market fit for Jogja for the low budget gitu, and dekat dengan Malioboro. That's the consideration we onboard that in BD. But then waktu itu we don't have online inspection system yet antara BD dan community ya gitu. Jadi kalau sekarang kan kita punya online inspection dulu baru menentukan dia kita onboard atau enggak gitu kan. Before kita online inspectionnya setelah sign gitu.
Berarti dia pas itu sebelum ini ya ada inspection ya?
Betul. Jadi kita sudah sign duluan baru di online inspections. And pas di online inspections itu emang waktu kita onboard kan we were focusing on that kamar yang mau dijual gitu kan. Jadi kita memaksimalkan, maksudnya kita figuring out kamar itu aja gitu. But then the online inspections happen and then photoshoots happen. We found out ternyata kos-kosannya mereka harus melewatin kos-kosan itu dan tidak rapi gitu kan. That's actually the things that we need to set expectation aja sih nanti ke ownernya. How do we want to improve this gitu, karena kan mungkin nanti walaupun they stay in that particular room but still they will have perspective on the environment gitu kan. Do you think it's something that we can fix, Kak Tendi, or it's strict we cannot on board?
Okay, so actually I need to see first the what's called the actual the condition gitu, Nadine. Maybe I will ask Gani to get a photo maybe about the actual condition. So if we can transform the partner, maybe put something that like a access direct private access to the room or something. Maybe yeah, but I need to see the condition first, and
Yes.
we can discuss after that.
Yeah. Because before the main consideration is the locations, the design of the room, and the success case that they already have. They already succeeded bring guest history dari Airbnb-nya sendiri. Jadi kita lihatnya we see this as a potential property. Waktu itu.
Okay, then so maybe I will set up a meeting with Gani first
Okay.
About the
you can count me in. You can invite me.
Sure. Okay, Nadine.
Okay, thank you Kak Tendi and Nadine for explanation, and for the conclusion we will have meeting ya. Please invite Mas Gani and also me as the monitor of onboarding partner. Okay, for the next campaign is from Om Rafiq, renew partner contract. Please Om Rafiq.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tangguh. So I get one lead today. So I will give you Nadine. So yeah, I don't really have much update here. So this is the update from me. We get 3 partners signed at Jogja, Dasinam and Bejo, and also the Uncle and social media. And also you can see the based on chat the commitment is a lot 6 and lot 3 as well. So I get 109 partner still with us, that is increasing 2%. Maybe you can check what is the message of lot 3 and lot 6 over there. This is very loyal customer, so you can check on the message later. So it's no friction right now. So I just need to follow up the others partner who sign and commitment with us, and also keep the next action is keep following up Orange partner, Espila Bening, and Aura, and also Asmara, and also delegate with Ross because Asa is still Isoman, so we already have a GK calendar with me and Ross regarding the what is called meeting about the planning for the Jogja partners. That is from my side. If any have question, please back to you, Mr.
Okay. Is there any question for Om Rafiq about the contract? Not yet? Okay. I will follow up Asaya about the last update about Jogja partner, and I will tell you later about it. Okay. Maybe.
Hello, Ross. Mute.
Oh, mute ya dari tadi. Okay. Yeah. I will ask Asa for the Jogja partner contract ya Om about the last update, and I will follow up to you. Okay. For the next campaign is from me, partner satisfaction survey. So last week performance. For the survey sends up to 9, already sent to 19 partner, and 8 partner already filled the survey. 2 from 8. One partner held GSS. That is from Pondok Cesia, from CSS region 1, region 1. But yesterday community sharing session, we mentioned it's failed because Pondok Cesia partner cell phone battery is ran out. But already 15 minutes ya Kak, 10 or 30 minutes to discuss about OGT programs, and from the partner feedback is like give constructive feedbacks for us too. And based on the request of the product development, I have added 3 questions regarding the Bivigo application on the PSS form, and request for Pondok Cesia region 2 ya. From some partner request for BI team are still being carried out by BI from for Jogja partners, and from Bali for Bali partners. And yeah, you guys can check the the card responding community feedback for BI actionable. And I have invited several members of BI team to the Nusa Penida partner WhatsApp group, and we discuss like GSS schedule. The topic is stay package plan that BI has met for properties in Nusa Penida, and most of partner agreed to hold GSS on this Friday. And this week actionable plan, GM and BI will hold GSS with Nusa Penida partners this Friday about BI's plan for them. And because there has never been GSS with partner region 2 and 3 last month and this month, Tendi and I agreed to do GSS by combining all regions, all partners in all regions ya. Enggak all partners sih. Partners in all regions ya. That will be discussed like GT program, CSR, and partner satisfaction so far. Because like the last performance is really hard to persuade them to invite them every region. So we try new way to combine all region. And from the result of my discussion with Tendi regarding request from several partners to make a property partner guidebook. We agree. Aku buat itu in my last card list, and we agreed to make it in the form of an article on the Bukita website. The first thing I will do on this week is make draft, and I will ask also the access to website from PD. Yeah, that is from me. Is any question for?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll go ahead and ask. So this seems like actually pretty good progression. So you're moving from like smaller community sharing sessions to getting larger and larger and combining different groups. So that's actually pretty good. My thing is this, right? Before you have an event, always ask the question, why, right? Why would anybody want to come to this thing? So you have on-job training, you have all these different topics, but you need to kind of like package, this is just a suggestion, right? But it's really effective if you package everything around a theme. Like optimize your revenue in the next 3 months, right? By learning these really new innovative practices that we've discovered, something like that. So that gives essentially a why. Oh, I want to come because I want to, save money on my operations, or I want to learn like, who the smart kids in the class are so I can copy their homework, or whatever it might be, right? So really kind of like on your purpose. And I think then you'll start getting you want to get people to show up or they won't show up, but then you'll know essentially what purpose actually leads people to actually attend. And I think that can be helpful. But I'm kind of curious. Yeah, let's go to Tendi. So Tendi, how is the OJT program working so far?
Okay, so for OJT, actually for the proposal, I had discussed with Arfi, and then Arfi also what's called find a source from the PR to help connect with the school for the MOU, and then also I'm working on the get book for the OJT for the execution, and then also for the what's called for the cost. Also, I still discuss with Arfi and Lilis for the cost of the training, like cost for the meal, and then some what's called some expenses like that. So
Okay, let's talk about OJT a little bit more, just really quickly.
Yeah, sure.
Who will actually organize the students? Is it we organize the students and then we deploy them into the partner's property? Or do we give the partners opportunities and they present their own pitch in front of, like, let's say, universities and go from there? What exactly is the conduit of who facilitates what?
Okay, so actually, from the feedback from the partners, sir. So actually, they are it's very curious. They little bit afraid to receive the training because they don't know like the skill and then the communication everything, and then we offer the partner like and each resident we offer the partner. So on the selection part, so Bukit Vista will do the selection part like that. So we interview, we give the explain about the core value and everything. So on the selection, we will take the best person to put on the property like that. Like that, sir. So basically for the organized Bukit Vista and then partner as an evaluator.
Okay, got it. So basically these interns on OJT will be working with you, right? And Rathik, and people who are, the community team will be their managers. Okay, yeah, I think that will work. That's actually pretty solid. It's good that they feel a little bit afraid, Tendi.
Yeah.
It's like how everybody here who was a VCL was a little bit afraid when we first brought in interns. That's kind of like a healthy tension, because I think when people are too relaxed, then they don't innovate, right? And they don't positively transform. So it's good that they feel a little bit of responsibility if they need to lead. So okay, thank you for that clarification.
Last, sir. So most of the owner also asking about the cost, sir. So actually, there are three things. First, the cost from owner. The second one, cost like a split, and then the third is from Bukit Vista. And then Actually, for the owner that have a revenue, they are fine. Like it's fine, right, guys? But like yesterday, we discussed with the Kubu Pandey. So because there is no gas, and then just maybe one night, so they felt how they can give like a meal to the trainee like that. So like that.
I think meals should be covered
Yeah.
maybe by if this is on site, right? So somebody's actually doing physical work and they're not working from home.
Yeah.
I think it would be it's kind of they're already commuting there and everything, right? So at least you can do like it's Balinese customer, right? Someone who comes to your house, you gotta kind of feed them. And I would think of it as that's probably the least that you can expect, right? You are getting essentially like free labor. So like do your best there. But I think there has to be some owner commitment, Tendi. It cannot just be where the owner just sits back like, okay, Buena Vista has to do everything. So otherwise, there's no commitment on their side to actually lead better or to transform. Ideally, they would want to have people. Ideally, they have plans that they need people for, and we're helping them by essentially bringing these people in, right? So they don't have to do their own recruiting and selection process. But if they're unwilling to, let's say, think of them, Tendi, as like a VCL, right? Think of it as like a VCL, right? HR brings this person here, the VCL manages, and ultimately, if they want to get this kind of experience again with interns, then it's really the quality of their management. Would the intern actually write a positive review about this experience at the end of which? I think that is probably the best way for owners to understand what the intention and purpose of something like that is. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Kak Tendi. And the live is 10 minutes again, yeah. So we can continue to Kak Tendi performance about initiative or your task, Kak Tendi.
Okay, thank you, Ross. So for the on-job training, Ross progress. We'll had set up the meeting for about the cost, and for to find the win-win solution with RV and Lilis about that, and for the guidebook, it's still on progress. It's about 50%. So I will finish it by this week for the guidebook. And then the second update is the Bifigo user as well. I had also discussed with VD to get some password for the iOS, and then some owner already can what's called login without using the sign in with Google. So like Asri Village, and then also Kubu Mesari, they already can login, and then there is no error, no bug like rumah pertama yet. So far it's fine. And then also maybe for all the partner manager, I had create the list for the password.
Yeah.
And then also if you mind, you can also put it the password and then the email of the owner on the Airtable details, so it will be easier to find as well the what's called the owner login like that, and then ask them to download the Bifigo on the iOS like that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kak Tendi. We continue to Om Rafiq. There is update from you, Om Rafiq, or not?
No update.
Okay. Asa still still recovery from COVID, and from me, I think there is like comment from property partner persona from Mr. Jing, Kayla, and also Bayu, and the conclusion of the discussion, I think, is like we want to integrate the property classification from Mas Bayu and transformation stake from Kak Lilis, and try to see what the persona they have. And I think this is still need discussion. And I found that budget property type is owned by partner who has the legacy legacy stake. These have 4 samples, and exotic is also legacy. Luxury is in relationship. But for comfort is still not accurate because two partners have like legacy, and two partners again at Bali is still transactional. And from this, I don't know how to say. For the integration, I still confused how to apa namanya menjabarkan itu. Yeah, is maybe from Serging, do you want to give comment about this? Sir?
Absolutely. This is actually one of the most challenging and actually, I think, complex things that we're going to do. It involves multiple dimensions, and it involves, I think, a lot of strategic thinking and action, not will. So it's going to pull together a lot of resources here. I'd like to direct the attention, Ross, to one of the diagrams that I had attached actually just below. If you look at the attachments on, or whoever is controlling the screen, I'll sort of broadly explain what I think this looks like, and then we can dive into the dimensionality for each particular phase. Could the person controlling the screen scroll up a little bit and show us the attachments that are attached to this Trello card? So if we keep on going up, up a little bit more. Okay, let's go to view attachments on the hidden attachments just below. Okay, let's go to where? Okay, let me see where I can find it. It's just below the Maslow pyramid. Let's see. Yep, that dimension. Okay, so this is what I believe this is going to look like. Okay, so there's two axes right now. The horizontal axis, the x-axis, essentially looks at the partner persona in terms of, are they transactional, relationship, or legacy, right? So that's kind of the personality of the partner. And then the vertical axis, the y-axis, looks at essentially the property classification. That is essentially how guests perceive a particular property. Is the property for comfort? Is it exotic, or is it luxury? Okay, so what that creates is it creates 9 grid. 3 on 3 creates 9 different grids where a potential partner and their property could sit in. So like Ross just said, you could have a guest house owner who's probably in comfort, who has a legacy relationship. So they're kind of like in the bottom right-hand corner there, right? You could have a type of owner who is a legacy, but also has a luxury property. Perhaps that's lot 3, lot 6, maybe lot 5 even. Okay, so that's kind of like that type of owner. So based on this particular graph, what we can start doing is we can start deciding, and this goes up to BD too as well, what essentially we need to say for each particular type of property and partner persona, right? So that we have, I think earlier, Nadine was talking about how when we get different types of owners, we have a different pitch for them because we have a different offering. So once we develop this, we start understanding, okay, what are the benefits that will trigger a property partner to partner with us who is legacy and exotic, right? What will trigger a partner with us and maintain a good relationship if they are a relationship and comfort, and so on and so forth. Now, here's where the difficulty kind of lies in, right? So we have already, Lilith has provided, I think, a structure and a trigger point for understanding what stage the partner is in. Now on that covers the x-axis, right? But on the vertical axis, it's a little bit less clear. Ross, there's that diagram that I created earlier. I think I showed you, it's one of the top attachments at the moment. If we can open that up, we can explain a little bit about sort of like how I'd envision the guest experience to look like. Okay. Whether it's luxury or comfort really depends. Oh, could the person controlling the screen please just go ahead and click off for a moment and open the top attachment, the WhatsApp image 2021. Okay, if we remember a Maslow pyramid, right? The bottom stage is survival. After that is comfort. Then it's identity, love, belonging. At the top is transformation. Okay, so that's essentially what a Maslow pyramid looks like. So luxury kind of looks like it's essentially solid all the way through. You have good survival, good comfort, good love and belonging, and strong self-actualization. Budget tends to look fat on the bottom and skinny on the top, right? So good survival, maybe a bit of comfort, but not a lot of identity, belonging, transformation type thing, okay? Exotic tends to look heavy on the top, like, wow, this place is so amazing. Why didn't I discover it before? But it might not have that much comfort or in the bottom stage, right? It depends. Like if you think of a tree house or a bamboo house, or like, you know, sleeping in a Mongolian yurt or being in a ship cabin that's in the middle of the ocean, these are very self-aspirational. They make people believe that, hey, I've become this new person, right? But they might not actually be comfortable. Bugs, you know, new conditions, all kind of stuff like that. So that's what we think exotic looks like, and so on and so forth. So anyway, this is still a gigantic discussion, like Ross has just mentioned, but we need to kind of like start converging. What are the personas we're using, and how can the existing work be tied to this while giving one thread of understanding through the entire process, right? My suggestion is that we can use the Maslow pyramid as essentially our base point for understanding both the guest side perception of a property, so the property classification, and also the owner side, because that would make both sides consistent then, right? And then take from that, support that with things that we understand, right, about the age, demographics, all that other stuff, and support like the overall ideas. Once we have this, what we have is a framework to delegate and also to develop independent innovations on all 9 sectors, right? So then you can have essentially this entire team start focusing on, okay, this is this type of owner, this is this type of owner, and it would take away the confusion and the ability to like, oh, well, how do I talk to so I'm hoping that that would be the end result and help us essentially grow bigger teams that can all focus on the mission together.
Okay, thank you, Sojing, for the explanation. I think I will discuss about this to Kayla and also Mas Bayu and you, and also Kak Lilis who have transformation stake, how to integrate it, because this is have two variable yeah. 5 minutes, 2 minutes again. We continue to Mbak Wayana, please. Nadine.
Yes, thank you for, yeah, I have some, not really much updates on Uluwatu community program. So the updates that I already written, so the schedule hasn't been met yet with Pak Imade because he seemed pretty busy, but I will still continuing to get that. And for now, actually, since the first this idea comes up it when the key people ask me as the, you know, as the representative of Bukit Vista as a big business holder in Uluwatu area, how would Bukit Vista contribute for Uluwatu? And from that questions, basically, I started to observing what kind of contribution as well that the other business holder in Uluwatu area does at the moment. And I have collected some informations from Bejana and also Sisen, Nyang Nyang, and the other. They did some of social thing, basically. Warung Bejana, for example, as I already attached, they made some of trash can that can be placed on some of public area in Uluwatu, and also beach cleaning, something like that. But in my analysis and also the conversations that I got, they don't expect us to do that social things at the moment, but more to the educations and gather all the property owners in Uluwatu to discuss about Uluwatu identity. That's the things that they actually expect from Bukit Vista. And basically this is such a long discussion, and I have already made mind map and plan. It's on a paper as well, the Uluwatu Community Market Expansion paper. So it's a structured plan for this project. For the next actions, I will be finishing the document first, so everyone can have a look to the whole project for this one. And the first plan right now, the closest actions that I will still continuing. The first plan still continuing the informal network with the Pak Imade to get the schedule. But if it doesn't work until this week, I probably consider to have a discussion with PR team to probably do we need to have a formal approach to this Desa Adat Pecatu, and then yeah, that's basically the closest actions that I will do this week. If you
Okay.
guys have any comment, you can put on the comment sections.
Okay, thank you everyone. If you have a question, please comment in Nadine Cards. I think we already udah finish already 2 p.m. But Andreas want to give 10 minutes before Scrum and for demo the Airtable of onboarding process. Do you think, Andreas, we do it in the next channel Bukit Vista 2 or the next day, the next time? Maybe schedule about it.